students, I welcome you to this weekend class. It's Uncle C once again. I bring you greetings from CNC Education Consult and a happy and a prosperous new year to you all. It is a new year, a year of new dreams, a year of new hope, and a year of new aspiration. And as we went through our assessments, as we visited your various schools, we are happy with the progress most of you are recording, and it excites us as an education consultancy firm. It means our mandate is gaining grounds, and we appreciate you for that. We encourage you to do more and to put into practice all the necessary lessons we give you on daily basis. Today we are learning from life skills. And the topic we are discussing is educational goals setting. Students, I remember in life skills I taught you what life skills is, and then time management, life skills as a lesson and what it entails. I remember under life skills, I explained life skills to you as the practical way of doing things. You are in school. What are some of the things you need to do in order to succeed? Or the various skills and talents you have been endowed with, how you can put them into use so that you become a useful individual. And under time management also, I understand, or I remember I taught you to put together all your 24-hour activities. When you wake up, you know 24 hours make a day. The various activities you do in 24 hours, you write them down and time yourself. The time you spend in doing each of these activities, at the end of the day, you give yourself remarks as to whether the time you spent on a certain activity is more or less, or whether the time spent there in performing this activity can make you a useful person. So in essence, it means using your time wisely and spending more time on things that will benefit you positively than on things that will benefit you negatively. So I encourage you that you put all these things into practice and make sure in your time management plan you spend more time on fruitful activities and spend less time on activities that are unfruitful or activities that will not yield you anything positive. Today we are looking at educational goal setting. What are goals? Goals are plans or strategies put together to arrive at a certain dream or aspiration. Goals are plans or strategies put together in order to arrive at one's dreams or aspirations. Now, there are several types of goals. We have short-term goals, we have middle-term goals, and then we have long-term goals. The short-term goals are the goals that we set, or the objectives we set to achieve a certain target within days or few weeks. Those are the short-term goals. Short-term goals are the various plans we put in place to achieve a certain objective within, let's say, days or weeks. So they are called short-term goals. And some of those goals can be, let's take for instance, you want to manage your weight. Your weight. So you decided to work out for, let's say, you decided to work out for, let's say, few weeks, maybe 30 days workout to improve on your weight. Now that is a short-term goal. Another form of short-term goals could be maybe completing an assignment or a project work that you have been given. That is also another example of a short-term goal. Now, the middle term goals are those goals that you set to achieve within, let's say, 6 months. Within 6 months. Those are the middle term goals. Those ones, you set them, the plans, you put certain measures in place to accomplish a task within, let's say, a few months, or let's say 6 months. That is a middle term goal. An example of such goals could be, maybe you want to learn a new skill, maybe a skill in sowing, or a skill in catering, a 6-month course that encourage or that allows you to gain new skills in catering, or a 6-month course that allows you to gain a new skill in tailoring. So these are middle term goals. Then when we talk of long-term goals, they are the ones that you set, the plans that you put in place to achieve certain objectives within several years to come, maybe within 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years to come. Those are long-term goals. For instance, as students, your long-term goal could be maybe 25 years from now, you would love to become, let's say, become gainfully employed, maybe becoming gainfully employed in the next, let's say, 15 years to come, or in the next 20 years to come, 25 years to come. You will love to buy a house, or in the next 35, 40 years to come, you will love to be married. You will love to be married and have your own family. These are long-term goals. So we have three forms of goals that I've just discussed with you now: short-term, middle term, and then long-term. Short-term, middle term, and long-term. Now let's look at as students, what goals you can set for this year. As students, what goals you can set. These goals can be short-term, they can be middle term, and they can be long term. Now, before you can be able to set goals for yourself, there are certain things you need to think about. Goal setting is not just something you wake up and then do, or it is not something that automatically happens. But before you even think of setting a goal, there are certain things you need to consider. And I would like to take you through them one after the other. Now, the first thing you need to consider as a learner or as a student is, first of all, discover. Discover is the first keyword. Discover. The second keyword is plan. Plan. The third one is act. And then the fourth one is reflect. First one, discover. Second one, plan. Third one, act. And then the fourth one, reflect. Now, I'll talk about each of these measures, or each of these steps that will lead you to setting up realistic goals. Now, discover. Last year in school, what were some of the challenges or the goals you set last year? That is, if you have set any goal at all. Because I know, by experience, I know that students find it difficult to set goals. Maybe because they don't know how to go about it, and maybe because their mentors or their educators have not taught them how to set goals. But from this lesson, I believe you will be able to know how to set goals and start setting them. So let's take, for instance, last year there were things you planned to do. Maybe you plan to, out of, let's say, 50 students in your class, you planned last year that you will be among the first 10 after the end of term examination. You will be among the first 10. Now, after the result, or after the exam scripts were marked and your report cards were given to you, have you achieved that goal? Have you achieved that plan? The plan of you being among the first 10 out of 50 in your class, being among the first 10, have you achieved that goal? If yes, that means your goal has been accomplished. So you set a new goal this year. But if not, then you ask yourself, what prevented me from achieving that goal of being among the first 10 in my class, out of 50, being among the first 10? So you then look at what prevented you from doing that. Maybe what prevented you was no time for learning. I mean, you didn't prioritize certain things that will make you achieve those goals, or you were not punctual in school, you skipped certain days. So maybe these are some of the reasons why you couldn't achieve that goal of being among the first 10 in your class. So now that as you come across these problems which prevented you from achieving those goals, that means you have discovered that yes, these are the the challenges, or these are the problems that prevented me from achieving that dream or that goal of being among the first 10 out of 50 students. So now this year you are now coming to set another goal. No, you are coming to set that same goal. That yes, now you've discovered yourself. What are you then going to do this year so that same problem doesn't occur? So that is what we call the goal setting. So that is the discover aspect of it. Now you've discovered that there was no time for learning, you skipped school, you were not punctual, you were absent some days. These were some of the reasons why you couldn't reach that goal. So that is the discovery aspect of it. Then the second aspect, now you know. So the planning comes in. Planning is the second thing. Planning is the second principle. Now, there is this saying that those who fail to plan to fail. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So it is always good to plan very well. If you don't plan as a learner or as a student, there is no way you achieve your dreams. So you need to plan. Now you know that this is what made you not to arrive at the goal you set last year of being among the first 10 out of 50 students in your class. So now you plan, what am I going to do this year so I will be among the first 10, even better, maybe the first 5. So you plan towards it and make sure that that plan materializes. The plan you are setting, make sure it is realistic. So what are you going to do this year? So this year you are going to make time for studies, make more time for studies, and then less time for play. That's your first goal. Second goal is that you always be present. You always be present at school. You always be present at school. So it means this year you are not going to be absent from school. So these are the goals, and this very aspect is the planning aspect. First you discovered the problem, and now you are planning so that you can achieve. The planning aspect is the goal setting. Now that you have planned, or you have set a goal of always being in school and then making time for studies, the next thing is to act. I will always be in school. I will make time for studies. These are the 2 goals you are setting. So the next thing is you act. How do you act? How do you act, students? How do you act on these goals? You act on these goals by making sure the goals you put on paper do not remain on paper, but you start working towards them. Now, I know it is difficult. It may be difficult. You plan very well, but putting those plans into action becomes a problem. So what do? You go on your knees and ask Heavenly Father to help you put your plans into action. So you kneel, pray to God, and ask Him to help you put the plans into action, or put your goals into action. So the first thing is you approach God in prayer. Then the second thing, now that you have prayed, you start working towards those goals or those plans. So the first thing you do is, no, the second thing, because the first thing is to pray to God. Now you have prayed to God. It doesn't end there. Prayer without work or faith without work is dead. So the next thing you do is what? Make sure you put in much effort. Start making time for your books. And how do you go about it? The practical aspect of making time for your books is, first of all, having a personal timetable. A timetable that is different from the one you have at school. That is the first thing you do. Personal timetable. Personal timetable, having enough time for studies. And I taught you that in drawing your personal timetable, make sure the core subjects, math, English, science, social studies, you make sure you dedicate a day for those subjects. So when it is maths, it should be only maths after school. When it is science, it should be only science after school, that for that evening. When it is English, it should be only English. Core subjects, always make sure you dedicate those one core subject per a particular period of time. One core subject, because those core subjects are very broad. Then when you get to the electives, maybe your BDT, your basic design and technology, your career technology, your any other core subject, you can now make those core subjects at least electives, not core subjects, electives. Those are the electives. So you make, let's say, 2 elective subjects, because those ones are not so broad or are not so complicated like the core subject. So core subject, 1 core subject per evening. 1 core subject per evening. The electives, at least 2 per evening. Now, the next thing after this is to what? To make sure you have your time management plan. Your time management plan, which tracks all your daily activities, and then on the time management plan, you make sure you have enough time dedicated for studies and less time for play and other activities that will yield no positive result. So you dedicate much time for studies and then less time for other minor activities that will not yield anything positive. So that is the acting aspect. Now then, the next aspect is to reflect. How do you reflect? Reflecting is, yes, now you have discovered, you have planned. The plan is the goal setting. Then the third aspect is acting. You have acted on those goals. First, you went to your knees. You went to your knees and prayed to God to help you achieve those goals. Then the next thing, you started making sure that you achieve those goals, putting those goals into action, full action. Don't leave the goals on paper. You start making attempts, start making necessary moves to make sure you achieve those goals. Now, after all this has been done, then you sit and reflect. Sitting and reflecting on the goals you have set and the actions you have put in place to see whether there needs to be whether there should be an adjustment, or whether there are some corrections to be done, whether there are things you tried to do that you didn't do. So the reflection aspect is what we call the reflection aspect of your goals is what we call resolution. So as you are reflecting, you are checking your goals, the actions you put in place, and seeing whether those goals were achieved. If they haven't been achieved, then you ask yourself some questions. Why haven't they been achieved? So that is a reflection aspect. The resolution or the remarks. How are you going to grade yourself? How are you going to grade yourself over a period of time for the goal you have set? That is a reflection. What needs to be done that hasn't been done? And what must I do to make sure I improve? So now you are going to assign yourself, or you are going to put in measures to make sure that next time you perform better than you did. So all the plans that you put in place last year and those plans didn't work, there were reasons for those plans not working. So now this year you discover those lapses, you plan, which is the goal setting, you act, and then you reflect, which we also call your remarks and also resolutions. I encourage you students to put these things into practice, and always make time for studies. Always make sure you set goals, because goals are the only tools that can make you become a greater person. A student or a learner who doesn't set goals knows not where he or she is heading. So goal setting, it's like a GPS, a global positioning system, telling you that this is where you are going. These are the directions you need to take to get to your destination. But without goals, it means there is no roadmap. There is no roadmap. You are just in there. You don't have anything guiding you to realizing your dreams and aspirations. I encourage you to do your best and put all these measures in place. We once again at CNC Education Consult, we appreciate you for what you do, and the feedback we've received from parents, students, schools, and other institutions we work with are very much overwhelming, and we are happy, and we encourage you to even patronize our services and products. We wish you all the best, a happy and a prosperous new year. Any comment, any questions, anything bothering you that you want us to know, we encourage you to go to our Facebook pages. That is CNC Education Consult, CNC Education Consult Ghana, tomorrow, today, edu.consult. And you can also email us at info@cnceduconsultgh@gmail.com. info@cnceduconsultgh@gmail.com. Encourage your children, your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channels. That is CNC Edu Consult TV GH, and then CC Edu TV GH, CNC Edu Consult TV GH, and then CC Edu Consult TV GH. You can also WhatsApp us on +233 540 230 709. Bye bye.